Dave here from CreationWild with a word from the Elk Trail. Oh man, what the heck? Well, do bears poop in the wood? That's a big 10-4, buddy. And these things sure do help, especially when your eyes are getting older. Even just to see across the road here, you're like, oh, what is that? And it helps to have clear vision, right? And that phrase 2020, the phrase used to mean like clear vision, right? Used to mean darn near perfect vision. Things were in focus and everything, made clear. But it seems like this year, 2020, has kind of changed that phrase has changed its meaning a little bit. Then again, at the same time, it kind of means it still means, clear vision. There's a lot of things this year, the things that have been going on that are coming out in the light, right? The way things are, the way our culture is in society, government, education, religion, our churches, our faith, work. A lot of stuff is coming out in the clear this year instead of hiding in the shadows or being in the background type of thing. So 2020 has been a year of I don't know, maybe refocusing, things coming into focus, I guess you can say. A lot of changes, some good, some bad, but still I think people are starting to realize the way things are in their own lives. I definitely am, and I know that we can't do that without these binoculars, okay? I'm able to use these to look around and see what I need to see, down through the woods or across the road or down across the ravine and the valley and stuff, and or when things start getting dark and I need to see what's up there. These help to see, the binoculars, but also just for life in general, God's Word helps us to see the way things are. Gives us clearer focus and vision on it. If we would just remember to return to it and read it, and then view our world, view life through a biblical lens, through a biblical worldview. And lately I've been in John chapter 14. Kind of been, I don't want to say stuck there, but I've been just camping out there. I've heard that term numerous times. We're going to camp out on John 14 for a while, and just kind of taking a pause, taking it all in, so to speak, soaking in it. Okay, sitting in it a while, chewing on it for a little bit. And at this time, John 14, this is the last few days, you can even go to say it's the last few hours of Jesus' ministry, of his life here on earth. It's So he's being very purposeful in the things that he's saying. And up to this point, the first part of 14, disciples are pretty like, they don't know what's going on, right? They obviously are troubled, because the first few words there, Jesus says, your heart must not be troubled. And he had just told Peter, Peter made his big stand, like, I'll stand with you forever, right? I'll fight and die with you. And he's like, actually, Pete, before the rooster crows 3 times, before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And that was probably a huge slap to his face. And you think of all the other disciples in the room, they heard that, like, what? Peter? He's going to deny you? Man, this guy, we saw him walk on water, man. He's like, he doesn't even think twice, he just goes and does it, And if Peter says he's going to stand there and stand for you and with you, they believe him. He'd be the last one they would think would fall that way. So here they are with the disciples and Peter, and a lot of crazy stuff this last few weeks and stuff in their lives. A lot of changes. A lot of things that they're very hopeful that, okay, man, things are going good. Lazarus was just raised, right? All triumphal entry coming into, man, everybody's giving you the glory and the recognition and praising you what you deserve. They knew that he deserved that, but then at the same time, right here in 13, he's saying, man, I'm getting ready to leave, guys. I'm getting ready to be crucified. You're going to look for me and you ain't going to find me. And you guys are going to get scattered. And so is it any wonder that their hearts were troubled? Things were slowly starting to just unravel and turn upside down and didn't make sense. He even talks about in 13 and 14, I believe, where he's like, I'm telling you these things so then you will believe, and I am who I say I am. When all this stuff transpires in the next couple of days, you'll bring back to mind, the Holy Spirit will bring it back into your mind, and you'll remember, he warned us of it, he told us this, so he truly, honestly is who he says he is. And what's awesome also about this chapter 4, this first few verses here, is Jesus knew that they were troubled. He knew they were scared. But he took time for what he was facing, and we see here in the list a little while, as he's in the Garden of Gethsemane, he is sweating, he is agonizing over what is getting ready to transpire, and he knows at this point here, and he knew from the beginning of time that this moment would come. So we know he had his own agony and his own fear and his own, I don't know if you want to say doubt, his own desire anyway, like, Father, if there's any other way, but your will first and foremost, God. But so here, Jesus is in the middle of that, his own agony and his own hurt for his disciples who he loved, right? He'd been with them for 3 years steady, day in and day out, not just once a week on Sunday mornings, not just at Bible studies or whatever, or at the men's conference every fall and spring. Day in and day out, 24/7, he'd been with these guys. Okay? And he even says at one point in here, he says, I no longer call you slaves, but I call you friends. These were his friends. And he took a moment to love on them and to tell them these things. Things that I need to hear in this 2020 as we're trying to get a clear focus on what's what. When our hearts are troubled, when my heart is troubled. And just like them, Jesus knew their hearts were troubled. He knows that our hearts are troubled also. He knows life is life, and that's why he came down and experienced, so that, what did it say in Hebrews, that we don't have a high priest that can't relate, that can't connect, that doesn't have any clue of what we go through. He knows darn well what we go through. He knows what we're going through today. Just the simple fact that he is God and he knows everything. But on top of that, he came down in human form and experienced life as we experience, the ups and the downs and the joys and the triumphs and the agony and the pain and the sorrow. So in the midst of all of this, we hear Jesus saying, your heart must not be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many dwelling places. If not, I would have told you. I am going away to prepare a place for you. I will come back and receive you to myself, so that where I am, you may be also. He knows that we're hurting. He knows that our hearts are troubled. But he takes time to let us know that he has something planned for us. Okay? He has something more glorious that can't compare to anything good we can experience. The worst that we are going to experience will be a whisper. We won't even remember it. When I read this, I like to not to change its meaning, not to leave things out, right? Because it tells us we're not to leave things out or to take or add to it, right? But I really like to read this little passage this way as a reminder for us, or as a reminder for me. Your heart must not be troubled. I am going away to prepare a place for you. If I go away and prepare a place for you, I will come back and receive you to myself, so that where I am, you may be also. That is the heart of this. That Jesus is saying that, so where I am, you may be also. So despite that we are all in our own experience of 2020, right? And in our own troubled hearts, in our own agony, in our own life situations and stuff. But knowing that someday that where Jesus is, we will be with him at that point. And he's gone ahead of us to prepare that place, to get it ready, so that it'll be perfect just for us. So as his word says, there will be no more tears, no more sadness. There will be no more night. Your heart must not be troubled. I will come back and receive you to myself, so that where I am, you may be also. That Jesus is coming back to receive us so that we can be with him. He hasn't abandoned us. He hasn't forsaken us. It may be silent in your world and in your life. It may be silent in your 2020 this year. But he hasn't forgotten us. He hasn't. He's busy. Not saying that he's too busy to deal with us now, but he is busy preparing that place for us, getting it ready. He's always active, always at work. Because Paul wrote, he who began a good work in you will keep working on that until the day of completion. So until that day he comes back, he is working, he is busy. He's busy in your life and my life. He's busy in heaven preparing those places for us. So I want to encourage you with Jesus' words, that your heart not be troubled, knowing that Jesus is coming back so that we can be with him forever. Well, this is David from CreationWild with another word from the trail, from the Elk Trail. I'm just encouraging you that use this to help with your vision, make things in better perspective, in better focus. And hear the words of Jesus tell you that he cares about your heart. He cares if your heart is troubled, and he doesn't want it to be. He wants you to know that, hey, he's coming back for you, and he has a place for you, and that place is by his side for all eternity, in his presence for all eternity. Thank you, and I'll see you somewhere down the trail.